Jess, I'm going to start this podcast off today by not a negative, meaning you don't whatever. This is going to be the opposite. We get to talk about your money today. Today, we're going to talk about math.
Ooh.
We get to talk about math, Jess. Now, before anyone gets a little squirrely in their seat, this is not a pop quiz. This is not one of those math situations where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know the numbers. Or maybe that's just my own PTSD from math class.
I
We're
was going to
talking
say, I
about
feel like,
money today. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I was going to say, I really meant to tell you before we started this podcast that you should not be opening with the word math because I feel like everybody's going to tune out immediately.
Well, the neat
And
part about the word math, though, is in our blueprint process, right? We call this the process here. We talked about, what do we call that, Jess? The podcast where we talked about the payoff. What was that? Step 1, series 1, episode
yeah,
1?
step one of, like we
Okay.
said, roughly a 7-part series
Okay.
where we wanted to look at what success looked like on the other side of a one-to-one coaching business.
Right.
And how do you transition that to the next thing?
That's right. And so that was the first step. This is the second step in a series of 7 steps, and it is your money, right? This is, we understand what you are offering in the sense of a payoff to your clients, right? What do they get for working with you? And now we get to talk about the money you are going to drive back to you from building this, what we call phase 3 group.
And it's not just the money. So we use math universally because of the fact that the money is part of it. Your time is part of it.
Right.
Your conversion rates are part of it. The size of the audience you need to transition from one-on-one into a group setting is all part of it. So the numbers for us matter. And that's why we wanted to spend time here before we went into the other components, because we know that most people will get so excited by the opportunity and they'll have big vision and they'll want to build something, and yet they won't know the numbers behind it.
That's right.
And the numbers inform the decision.
Yeah, for sure. So where you should be right now, if you're in our sequential process here, is you should already have a one-to-one coaching business done. This is where, again, if you're following the blueprint, and if you're a community member, you understand that language. So those that aren't in our community, we're sorry, you should be in there. Though this is saying that you've already built a one-to-one coaching business. And we say you build the one-to-one coaching business first. And gosh, Jess, there's so many ways that we can argue this point. I'd love to argue it with someone who says build group first. Because this is that's how you keep your lights on, right? Your one-to-one business is what keeps your lights on. And so from that vantage point, you should be making roughly $180,000 a year right now, or $15,000 of monthly recurring revenue. We're not going to tell you what numbers to do with your one-on-one, but through the blueprint, that's the example that we give. And that's where you should be. So if you're listening to this and you're not there, don't listen to it anymore. Push pause and go back to listen to how to build a one-on-one, because now we're going to talk to you about building group, and just let's go into math.
I love this conversation. And I always laugh because, I mean, y'all have heard us talk on this podcast together for over a year now. Adam always likes to start with the math on the money side because he knows how intentional it needs to be because of paying bills, like you said. And so when I met you, that was like the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I was like, I don't like talking money, which is ironic considering my past life. But I wanted to talk about the building and the impact and all the other things. And through working together, we've discovered that you do have to know the payoff and the numbers before anything else can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, very clearly, and I said time because that's my big bugaboo. Like, that's the thing that's most precious to me. It's correlated. So you said $15,000 a month. That's $1,500 per client. That's roughly 2 hours per client, or 5 hours a week, if you want to look at it that way. So you are making $15,000 for 10 clients, 20 hours.
Yep.
If you want to go that way, you could go higher. You can be lower. Not that we would ever suggest that, because we know that your value is there and you are worth it. But our numbers are starting here as a framework for, $180,000 is a comfortable space for a lot of people, especially working less than 5 hours a week or 10 hours every other week. And so knowing that and knowing that that's the position you need to be in before you go look at other things should alleviate a lot of pressure or stress that you might be putting on yourself if you're like, oh my God, I need to build a group to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's transition here. So you have the one-to-one, you're done. Okay, great.
Mhm.
You've hit that benchmark. Now let's go to the math on the one-to-many side, Jess. This is where I think people get a little hung up because it's like, okay, well, I have a wait list of one-to-ones that I'm just going to go put into a group, and that's going to be my one-to-many. That's going to be, and I can do the math there. Well, gosh, if they're paying $1,500, well, I'll just break it down to, I don't know, $300 a person and get 10 people in there for 1 hour, and that's $3,000 for the month. I don't know. Let's talk about just how to really do this now. The math
Okay.
for the group.
Well, I think you just kind of started alluding to it, but let's be
Mhm.
abundantly clear. So the idea here is not immediately cut off your clients. If you
Yep.
have 10, you're not saying goodbye to all 10. What you're doing is you're top grading. You're working with the highest and the best who are paying you the most, and they're the easiest because they do the things and they're coachable. You are replacing one of your one-on-one slots with a group.
Mhm.
And so for pricing and for math, you do need to make sure that you are at a minimum replacing them with what your one-on-one clients are paying you right now.
Right. Yep, for sure. Okay, so very simply said, let's go back to the one-to-one math. You have 10 clients that are paying you $1,500 a piece,
Mhm.
15,000. So if you choose to go build a group, and we're not going to talk about how to build a group today. We're just talking about the math today.
Yeah,
We will talk about how to build that group here in another section, but not right now. The math there says if you are going to go build a one-to-many group coaching session, it has to be equal or greater than one-on-one coaching client.
exactly.
Yep. Equal or
And
greater
that makes it easy to think about
than. Mhm.
because again, naturally we have people who are like, "Oh, well, I'll build a group, but because people can't afford my 1,500 a month or my 2,000 a month, I'll make it really accessible and it'll be $97 a month." Well,
Right.
think about how many $97 people you would need to fill a $1,500 spot.
15, 16.
That lift, yeah, 16 really. That lift becomes that much more difficult that way.
Mhm.
And so it's a very interesting strategic thing to think about. Okay, if I'm filling a $1,500 spot, like you said, could I fill it with five $300 people? Could
Mhm.
I fill it with, 10, 15, or $150 people, right? So you can start thinking about the positioning there and what do you want to deliver in the group? Who needs to be in the group? And what do they want to pay you for group proximity versus one on one proximity?
That's right. Now, the neat part about the math here is you can play with this math any way you want to. We're not telling you just to go replace one-on-one coaching client. If you wanted to, could replace them all. I mean, think about what
Hmm.
that would look like. If you're at 15,000 and you had $1,000 entry price point into your group, Jess, you would
Hmm.
need 15 people. That's it. That's
Hmm.
not a whole lot of people. And now let's just hypothetically say that you did 1 hour of a group or one-to-many approach, and it was $1,000. And heck, you could offer that once a week. I'm sorry, yeah, once a week. I would say probably once every other week, but we're not talking about the framework of the group coaching yet. We're just talking about the math. Think about how much time you just bought back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Think about how much time you just bought back. Now, here's something cool too. Let's say that you wanted to have that group and you wanted to keep 5 of your clients, right? You want to keep 5 of your clients, but yet you got that many people into a group coaching session at $1,000 a month. Think about what the math just happened in your world and how much time you actually just got back if you had a $15,000 one to many, and if you still had 7,500 coming in from your one to one. Jess,
Hmm.
now we're doing some serious dollar productivity per hour that just skyrocketed.
Well, that's the entire point here is
Huh?
so if you're looking at it from the outside looking in, a group is an ascension offer into one on one. But we tell
Wait,
people to
wait, wait,
build
wait,
an
wait. Hold on, hold on. We got to slow down. Your brain is so big and you know that, and I got to stop you sometimes. Some of our listeners may not understand what ascension means
I was about
because
to
Oh, okay, fine. You were gonna go 100 miles an hour. I know what you were getting ready to do. But ascension
Okay.
means what?
Ascension means a progression or a step
Oh,
into. So,
yeah.
from the outside looking in, a lot of times you start with the lowest cost thing and then you upsell somebody into the next thing.
Mhm.
So, from the outside looking in, a group would then ascend or be the next step into a one on one. But if
Yes.
you've been listening to us for however long we've been doing this podcast, you'll know that we start with one on one and we essentially it sounds like descension, but it's not. We're building the ascension model backwards. And the
Mhm.
reason is that one-on-one pays bills, then the group allows you to scale it
Yes.
without adding more energy and more effort. And
Mhm.
so what Adam was just sharing was the next natural step in doubling, tripling, xing your income without 10xing your time or your energy. And that is why the ascension model works so beautifully here, because right now you could start with replacing one client with a group and you could double your income. I mean,
Mhm.
it's as simple as that with the right numbers and the right number of people. And so you don't have to work harder. This is working smarter because of the fact that if you build a reputation as a one on one coach, you've got a wait list, you've top graded, you can automatically fill your group so much faster than trying to recruit people into something low ticket or lower ticket and then suddenly going, oh, and by the way, I've got this other thing over here.
That's right.
So
Yep.
you're doing the hard work first with the one-on-one, but you're actually doing it in what I would consider the easiest way because you know exactly who you want to coach, how you want to coach them, and you're paying your bills.
So let's look at the math in another light. So we've identified that you've got your one-on-ones. We're going to say
Mm-hmm.
with the 15,000 a month. You've identified now that you want to go to a one-to-many approach and you want to top grade some of your people. And so let's say you're going to replace 5 of them. So we're replacing $7,500 worth of revenue, and we're going to build that in a group one-to-many. All right, great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, check this out. Let's say that you had budgeted 5 hours for the month of working. Okay, so let's do some more math. So 5 hours, if you're coaching your people for 30 minutes a week and you had 10 of them, but
Mm-hmm.
yet you just got rid of 5 of them, Jess. So we went from 5 hours down to 2.5
Mm-hmm.
because we have 5 one-on-ones.
Yep.
And we just added 1 hour of group coaching
Mm-hmm.
or one-to-many.
Mm-hmm.
And so we technically still have how many hours left? 2,
Well, yeah,
right?
you're back to 3.5 hours
So we have
with the
one and a
same
half
exact
hours left.
income. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now let's have some fun here with math. This is the neat part inside of math. If you like one-on-ones, great. I love one-on-ones. I also love one-to-many because I love time. If you want now, guess what you can do with one-on-ones, Jess? Increase your price.
Right.
You can increase your price. Why? Because you don't need another one-on-one. This is where we see coaches kind of crash and burn a little bit, is because they stay in this one-to-one space and they try to start a group, but the group doesn't work because they don't do the math. And then they think, well, I need more one-on-ones, but they keep it that little entry-level price and
Mm-hmm.
they can't increase their price point because the demand isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have demand and you have value, some of the people from your one-to-many group will want proximity to you.
Yep.
And since you now have 1.5 hours remaining, since you got rid of 5 clients, instead of 1,500, let's go to 3,000. Let's go to
Right.
3,000 now for your time for one-on-one. You want to go to 5,000? Go to 5,000. Who cares what the number is? You
Yeah.
can do this now.
Well, you're charging for proximity and time more so than anything else there.
That's right.
And proximity and time usually expedite whatever they're trying to achieve. So if
Mhm.
your group is promising something in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, the idea of paying more means that they get the result faster. That's why we
That's,
started with the payoff conversation.
that's right.
And so what Adam's getting at is you can continue to increase your dollar per hour activities, but reduce the time in such a great way when you have the two offers now.
Yeah.
And so the divide between them should grow as you top grade your one-on-ones and you funnel more into the group.
Gosh, I hope they're catching this. I hope they're catching this. This is so
Well,
fun. This math is so fun.
it is. I mean, again, like I said, I know a lot of people are turned off by the word math, but there's no other way to say, like, I mean, we could have called it know your numbers, but that's no better to me because it's
Right.
still numerically related and that's what people don't like. I think it's because there's more than 26. Now, there's only
Mm,
26 letters. The letters are easy. There's an
mhm.
endpoint. Numbers just keep going. That scares a lot of
They
people
do.
in the
Yeah.
infinite void of math.
Sideways 8, right? That infinity symbol.
Right, right. But at the same time, I love the infinite opportunities in math because
Mhm.
when you're clear on the numbers, then the sky's the limit for you. And so truly the idea is you don't have to know everybody. You don't have to get everybody in your group. You can be selective with your group too because you're putting people in from a wait list or you're putting in people who you had one-on-ones with but they didn't want to pay the increased price. So it's like, great, come into the group. You're
Mhm.
going to get the same value from me. You're just not going to get as much of my time.
Mhm. Right.
And so you can have confidence in this, which I think is something that people struggle with when they don't understand their value as opportunity and the compression of time for a payoff.
Well, that's so good language, Jess. And I'll share personal story here from the standpoint of coaches have tendency to think I can coach you. Period.
Hmm.
Blanket statement. I can coach you. Well, I'm good in health, I'm good in wealth, I'm good in fitness, I'm good in all these areas, but we don't have clarity on step 1, the payoff, right? We don't
Hmm.
have clarity on what that really is. And so I can tell you, when I stepped into this coaching space nearly 7 years ago, I could recruit, I could scale businesses, I could exit business. I had all these experiences with my arms open wide saying, "I'll coach you." With no real direct payoff other than the relationship that I had built with these people that I'm coaching now or
Hmm.
had coached. And it from a business standpoint, it was like a flat heartbeat, right? It didn't go up, it didn't go down, it just stayed flat. And so many coaches we hear, or at least we talk to, they are in this quote unquote burnout phase. They can't grow, they don't scale, and they are increasing their one-on-ones in a linear way. One day I'll make $5,000 with a client, but they have no clue what their payoff is. They have no clue of what their math is, and they get stuck in this wheel, Jess. They get stuck in
Yeah.
this little hamster wheel going over and over and over and over and over. And so the point that we want to make today is simply this. Your business doesn't have to be stuck where it is. Your coaching business has the opportunity when you understand the math here and you understand your payoff, step 1, of attracting the right person to fit into your hamster wheel to go, "Oh, look, we can actually go a little bit bigger. We can go a little bit higher. We can scale a little bit differently." And now I'm in control of not only my money, I'm in control of my time.
Yeah, and I think here is a good point to have the conversation. Like, if our numbers, if we're sitting here throwing out, 1,500, 3,000, 5,000, and that scares you,
Mm,
then I would challenge you to go back to the payoff episode and really think about what your payoff is. Because I think the coaches that struggle with the number that they're charging for their one on one
mhm,
and their group are the ones that don't have a clear payoff. They've just been coaching because they were told they'd be good at coaching or whatever, but they
mhm.
don't have the clearly defined payoff. And when you do have a payoff and when you have a framework you can deliver, then you can package that in such a way that the dollars are clearly lower than the cost that somebody gets from the outcome that you're
Yes.
delivering.
Yeah, it's good.
And we've always challenged people and said it could be 10 to 1, right?
Mhm.
So, hey, we know how to build $1 million coaching business. Technically speaking, if it was a 10 to 1, we should be charging people $100,000.
That's right.
We don't do that because we care more about helping more people,
Mhm.
but that is the key here is if you know your payoff, so if our payoff is build $1 million business, then we should have no question about our value at 100,000.
That's right. Yep. That's right. And we have built one-to-one. We have built one-to-many. We've built the community,
Mhm.
right? And that's the neat part because we understood the payoff, we can understand our math.
Exactly. And so if you're a person who is charging, you know, $100 or $1,000 per month per client, and you're sitting here like gagging on the idea of charging somebody 5,000, I would truly put money on the fact, since we're talking about money and math, I'd put money down that you don't know your payoff, and
Yeah.
that's why you have imposter syndrome around these numbers.
I will put money down. I'll put a membership down on it, Jess, that they don't know their payoff because a lot of coaches, let's just take the business coaching world that we know. There are organizations that people go to become coaches in
Mhm.
because of the name of that organization, right?
Mhm.
And there's many of them, right? There's many of them, and then they get to wear the hat that says, "I'm a coach inside of this container."
Yep, or put
Great.
it in their email signature or whatever,
That's
right?
right. That is dependent coaching, meaning you are in a dependent model that says, I am working for this company. This company is identifying the payoff that a client will receive because I'm inside of their container. And this is what I'm going to coach to, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
coach to scripts, or I'm going to coach to real estate as a whole, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you, as the individual coach, the brand, you're the brand, by the way, it's a whole nother podcast. You have no idea of what your specific payoff is. You could be on a
Well,
line with all these coaches, but y'all are different
if you're
in the
in a
payoffs.
dependent model, you are not actually coaching. You are the vehicle to deliver the payoff defined by the company you're coaching for.
That's right. Yep.
You don't have your own payoff. And
Nope.
that to me is the distinction here, which is why you see a fraction of what you're worth because
Yes.
you're a tool to deliver somebody else's payoff, and they're paying you a portion of what they make to deliver that outcome.
Yep.
And so what we're pushing back on here is
Hold on. I want to
creating.
get spicy for a second, Jess. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That
I mean,
wasn't spicy enough for you?
no, think about this. And I want to get really loving and care and candor here with those coaches who are in these types of models. If you are giving 50% or greater of your, it's not even yours, by the way. I'll say this, of your time, right? If
Mhm.
you're giving away your time and you're also giving away 50% or plus or more of your income for that time, you're losing, right?
Mhm.
You're going to lose slowly and painfully. And
Mhm.
guys, I want you to hear me. As John Maxwell says, my name's Adam, I'm your friend, right? This is truly a problem. This is a big problem because you don't know your payoff. And since you don't know your payoff, you're willing to give 50% of the income that is coming in to an entity that says, I'll define the payoff for you.
Mhm.
It's a joke, you guys. It's a joke. And you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your God-given gifts and your God-given experiences because you want to be in that container.
Mhm.
And I want to help you get out of
Well,
that.
and
It
again,
breaks my heart.
that's not the point of this episode, but at the same time, I think it's a very important one for anybody who's thinking about math. And so,
Mhm.
we know several large, organizations that sell certifications, they sell seats on the bus of being one of their coaches. And
Mhm.
most of the time, you do make roughly 40% of whatever
Yes.
the client is paying.
Yes.
And if you go ask the organization will say that they are in the lead generation business for clients. They are not focused on the development of a coach
Mm.
or the coach's payoff or the coach's personal brand or the coach's business
Mhm.
because they don't care about the coach. They care about their business, which is a paying client.
That's right.
And so I want this conversation to focus on you owning 100% of whatever you're building and whatever you feel called to build. And that is where the confidence comes in the payoff and the confidence comes in the math, because you are not somebody else's puppet.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with all the love and respect in the world, because you and I know tons of people in these different organizations or who have paid for these certifications or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, none of those things are the value that you bring to the table for a client.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have clarity on who you are and you have confidence in the way you handle a problem and the solution or the outcome that you deliver, then the pricing becomes a no-brainer and the math becomes a no-brainer. And you have the ability to go work with only 10 clients, not
Preach.
20 or 30 or 40,
Preach it.
just
Preach
to
it.
pay your bill.
You're preaching, Jess. This is good. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
you said spicy, and so I just,
Well,
there's
we had someone say they wanted to go get a few more clients in this container before they made a transition into a full-blown independent, know your payoff, understand your math, go get it world. And I was like, what in the world would cause someone to think I want to go get more of less?
yeah. I
And the
well,
simple answer is they don't know the value. They
it's
don't
a
know their
lack of confidence in your payoff.
Mhm,
It's a lack
mhm,
of confidence in and trusting yourself. And we know
mhm.
that. And it's not always something that you can like hold up a mirror and help them self-identify. So we're talking about it as people who have gone through that process and done that,
Right.
but it took us
Yep.
time to get there as well. Because Adam and I both worked in organizations and have paid for certifications and all the things. But we're passionate about this because we want to help people build a life by design for themselves. We want them to thrive in alignment and authenticity and not be somebody else's puppet.
Mhm.
And so I truly believe that when you know your payoff, you know the value you deliver, you can show an exponential return on it, then it makes building the group that much easier. Because
Yes.
again, that was what this episode was about, was math to group.
Uh-huh.
And the point is you don't need that organization or that certification or that whatever to give you the credential or the line in your bio to go fill a group,
Uh-huh.
because you've already done all the work of defining your payoff and getting that payoff for your one-on-one clients.
Yep.
So then when you turn around and say, "Hey, I can deliver the same thing in a group setting," it's easy. You only need a percentage or a fraction of the people you think you need to actually fill up that group and replace that one-on-one price point. Let's say it's the 1500 to start. And that is why we're spicy about this. Because if you need, let's say, 5 people to fill that, we know Pareto's principle 80-20. So if 20% are saying yes, that's 5 people, then 5 times 5 is you need to have 25 conversations to fill your group with 5 people.
Uh-huh.
I'm not telling you to go spend money on ads and reach thousands of impressions. I'm
Uh-uh.
telling you to go talk to 25 of your ideal person to put
Wait,
5 in a group.
hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself because that's audience. That's next. That's next. We
Well,
can't
no,
let
but
too
it's
much out.
knowing the math of the value of what you provide
Yeah.
and knowing that you have the confidence to build the group. So the
Uh-huh.
math does matter here. We'll talk about the type of audience and connecting with them more next episode. But I'm literally saying, when you move from one-to-one to group, when you know your payoff and you have confidence in it and you can
Uh-huh.
price it, then it's simple conversations to convert a few people.
Uh-huh.
This is not build a media team. This is not all those things. And that is part of the math
Yeah.
conversation.
That totally is. And I love how passionate you were about that. I want to call it spicy. That was passion, Jess. That was really good passion. And here's where the passion comes from, you guys. We've now helped hundreds of coaches, and it makes my heart, and I know it does yours too, smile when we actually get to see someone develop into a coach that has clarity on their space. When
Mm-hmm.
they have clarity on their space, they have control of the entire outcome. And when they have control of their outcome, it makes life so much easier because now they know their payoff, now they know their math, and it just adds up. The equation starts to really get easier, and you don't have to work as hard, you guys. You don't have to work as hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said at the very beginning of this that time is my thing, even though you've always talked money. I value my time because it's the only non-renewable asset. Like, you can spend money, you can lose
Mhm.
money, you can make it
Mhm.
back. But if you spend time, you can't make it back. You can't get it back. So to me, I am passionate about this because I want everybody to go be able to spend their time how they want, not how they feel like they have to because it was defined by somebody
Yeah,
else.
that's good. That's really good. Okay, so I have no doubt that they felt our passion behind this today, Jess. I have no doubt that the listeners or the watchers saw our excitement around this. And the simple thing is, you guys clearly go back, look at your math as you're starting to formulate ideas in this space of coaching. Understand the math equation for you to have. Again, everyone's definition of success is different. Your definition of success, and the math
Mhm.
is simple. Sit down and go do it. So, Jess, give them a call to action. Give them something to go do so they can continue to engage with us. What is it?
Well, I would challenge you to go to ilovecoachingco.com, co.com, right? And if you haven't already grabbed our Get Paid to Coach guide, that's a great place to start figuring out what your payoff is and what the cost of it is. So
Mhm.
go ahead and download that. And then if you're ready, join us, whether it's in the challenge or the community. We are here, as you heard, to passionately support humans who want to build something for themselves.
That's right.
This is not about you championing I love coaching
Mhm.
or wearing us as a badge or a certification of honor. It is about you building something for you and then by proxy your clients. And that's what we want to help you do.
That's right. Well said, Jess. Great. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for engaging with us. And we are here because of you. So we love you. Appreciate you. See you next time. See you. Bye.